career. Okay, just from hearing it from me, right? It's different when you hear it from other people, but for me, sometimes I wonder like how I actually did it. I know it sounds crazy, right? But like you almost think like, wow, like how did that actually happen? And how did I actually become an Olympian? How did I end up with the world's fastest pitch and the world record book? Like all of these things is how it like it almost feels like, what, me? Why? How? Um, I grew up in a I don't know. I grew up in a family of five. My brothers and sisters all played sports, and um, no one really was extremely athletic except for myself. So I was kind of an anomaly in my family. And then outside of that, we came from like a smaller town. We're like a small suburbs way outside of we grow lettuce way outside of Northern California. We grow lettuce called Salinas, not Salina, not to be confused with Salina, but Salinas. And then I somehow, just over the course of time, started to get a little bit better, get a little bit better, get a little bit better. And honestly, I will tell you, it got a little bit addicting, right? Like seeing improvement, having tasting what success feels like, what it felt like to hit up my first home run, what it felt like to lay down a sneaky bunt and run it out, what it felt like to, get the game-winning strikeout in the championship game. It became exciting and something that I really wanted to keep doing, right? So I kept trying to find ways to get better. And that eventually took me to the University of Tennessee, where I played college softball, the Olympics in 2008, and then the Olympics in 2020 here last, I played in Tokyo. Since then, and I played professionally for, I don't know, 15, 16 years, okay? So I've been teaching, right? And I actually wrote a book, in case some of you all don't know and the parents are on. I actually wrote a book, this book. This was my idea as like, before I retire, I'm going to write my story because I do think I have like this weird, like, how did I end up there? Like, my dad isn't a pro, my mom's not a pro. Like, I just ended up kind of making it somehow. The stars aligned, maybe. Or what did it I do? So this is the story I wrote. It's called Rise and Shine, on my life and how it happened, right? But then I got done writing this book and I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I need to give these girls that are so motivated, right? These girls that are so motivated, I need to give them a game plan. I need to give them the thought process, the like, what did you do? What did you do so well? Like, what did you do as an athlete that I'm not doing? What did you do that was difficult? What did you do when you weren't good? You had the sucky days. Like, what did you do when you were frustrated? What did you do when you were successful? And that's why I wrote this book called Abbott's A-List that you all received. And this book I'm super proud of because I do know in our sport of softball just how important the mental game is up here. And I think sometimes we forget how important it is in here, right? It is in here. And for us as softball players, you don't spend all the time practicing and traveling to tournaments and playing games and doing all that. If these two aren't connected, then sometimes it shows up on the field, right? So it's important for us to have our head and our hearts connected to be our best softball player for our team, okay? So I'm gonna go over, I know you guys have a lot of them. I hope you've gone through this and enjoyed it. I know there's a lot of like prompts and things for you to write your thoughts and things that are important to you. But I'm going to go over 3 different ones today that I feel like have really helped me. All of these I feel like helped me in my career. That's why I wrote it, right? And I wrote it for you guys. I was like, I got to tell them. I got to tell them the steps. This is what I did. If I could narrow it down into so many steps, this is probably what it would be. Okay. So, but we're going to go over 3 of them. Okay. So the first one is number 3, and it's called Be Proactive. And this one, I feel like helped me so much. Okay. It helped me so much. So I'm going to read you the first paragraph. I won't read everything, but I'm going to read you a little bit just to get us going here. Okay. Number 3, be proactive. Let's read that again. Be proactive. Definitely be proactive. Take the initiative. No one is going to come to you and hold your hand and take you to practice. If you want to get there and are committed, be committed and find a way. Call a teammate, call a friend, call a coach. If you call and say to your coach, hey, coach, can we spend 30 minutes after practice and work on defense, get a few extra ground balls together? No coach I know, no coach I've ever had to this day is going to say no. They are absolutely going to love it. They are going to find the time and a way to do it. So be proactive. Now I want to bring this up to you because at 14U, it's like a time where things start to get exciting, right? Like you're starting to learn more pitches, you're starting to get more hits, you're starting to get more plays on defense, right? But it's also a time where we fall in love with the game and we start to fall in love and understand the process it takes. Okay. And I say that because the great thing about a team sport is the people around you want you to be successful. Okay. Your coach wants to see you succeed. Your teammates want to see you succeed. The parents want to see you succeed. Your parents want to see you succeed, right? They want to see you have that glimmer of success and that excitement. And one of the things that we tend to do as an athlete is if we have a tournament or whatever happens and we make a mistake, right? Oops, I bobbled the ball, a run scored, I overthrew first base, and then we don't think about, we just let it go, right? And that's good. We want to let it go. We want to let it go so we can play the next game, right? But does that mean that we should let it go so much that we don't necessarily put in a little extra effort to work on that one play that we're struggling with? As a pitcher, I really struggled with bunts. Yep, I struggled with the bunt. You hit a ground ball back to me, I was perfect. But you threw a bunt, I'd throw it into right field. Every time. Every single time. It probably took me, girls, it probably took me 2 years before I had the courage. 2 years before I had the courage to ask my coach for help. To ask my coach, hey, what am I doing wrong? Can you help me? Can you help me practice this? I'm tired of losing because I'm throwing the ball into right field. Right? Okay. So, but your coach isn't going to come up to you and tell you, hey, do you want to practice for 30 minutes after? Do you want to stay after practice on Tuesday and work on this? Your mom might, your dad might, your brother might, right? But getting that attention from your coach, someone that knows the sport and has seen you play and watched you develop, right? Getting that attention from them is magical. So I challenge you guys to be proactive because I'm going to repeat this line. It says, call your teammate, call your friend, call your coach. And if you call and say, hey, coach, can we spend 30 minutes after practice to work on defense together? No coach I know is going to say no. They're going to love it. And they will find the time and a way to make sure it gets done. So don't be afraid to ask. Be proactive. Okay? So that's number 3. All right, let's see here. Get a quick drink. Okay. All right, number 4 is the next one that I want to talk about. And it's Can you guys read that? Develop a routine. All right, now, super secret here. This is low key, I think, one of the reasons why I ended up becoming an Olympian. Ended up going to Tennessee, ended up, learning my pitches and all of that, okay? Develop a routine. A routine is a sequence of actions you follow regularly. A solid routine will help create confidence in yourself. Inside of a routine, there is greatness and there is comfort. But more importantly than comfort, routine creates that self-confidence. And that self-confidence will help you be consistent, okay? I can tell you to this day, the same routine, the routine I had when I first started pitching and when I first started to, let's see, 5th, 6th grade. I'll tell you, you guys want to know my routine in 5th and 6th grade? Come home from school, eat a quick snack. If my mom was home that day, my sisters went down for a nap. My mom got out a timer on her phone, clicked, I set up everything. I set up a bucket in the street. I grabbed 5 balls and we set a timer for 20 minutes. And my mom and I went into the street in our neighborhood and just started playing catch. And then I started just doing the same drills that I had done at that pitching lesson or that my coach had gone over with us at practice. We didn't just go up there and try to hit or anything. We just did the same things that we had done in practice that week. And I did that probably 3 days a week at least, maybe 4, because most of the time my mom would be home when I got home from school, okay? Every day. And you know what else? I can tell you my high school routine and my middle school routine, okay? Because it didn't really change. My pitching warm-up went from wrist snaps. Then what did I do? I did wrist snaps. And then I did a knee drill. And then I did this thing called karate. And then I did a walkthrough. And then I did a tap. And then I did a step on. And I did those same 8 drills every single day I pitched. I never pitched without doing those drills. I never went to the mound and said, okay, I'm ready to go, throw 3 off the mound, ready to pitch. No, I always did those 8 pitching drills. Then I'm ready. And over the course of time, those 8 pitching drills did what? They started to create good form, good foundation, right? Good mechanics, right? But they also started to create good confidence. And that's probably the most important thing. And we can talk about a practice routine, but probably the most important thing you all probably would know, and I used people, some of my teammates even used to laugh at me, was my routine on the mound. I'll show it to you. Still know it to this day. Okay, catch the ball from the catcher, walk on back. I walk outside the circle, come up to the mound, dust off the mound, and then I'd get my pitch. And you know what? They would laugh. And it'd be every time, whether it was a ball, whether it was a strike, whatever happened, whether it was a foul ball, whether it was a big hit, it didn't matter. I still did the same thing. Walk by. Now I'm ready. Every single time. Why didn't I change it? Right? Why didn't I change it? Because when you go back to the root of a routine, right? When you go back to the root of the routine, what does it do? It helps create confidence in yourself. Inside of a routine, there is greatness. Would you say that routine got me greatness? I mean, I don't know about great, but it sure took me a lot of places, right? Team USA, Guinness Book of World Records, all of those things. Okay? Inside of your routine is greatness. Inside of your routine is confidence. And in that confidence is consistency. And I think when we talk about softball, that's probably the hardest thing, right? Would you guys agree? Consistency is one of the hardest things. Like, you know, you can hit, you know, you can field and throw. I know I can throw a strike, but doing it over and over and over again and not letting this get in the way or this get in the way or all that around us get in the way. And that's why you need a routine. And that's why it needs to stay the same. Okay, there's a difference. You can't keep adding to your routine and taking stuff away. You can't look at someone else on your team and be like, well, she hit really good, so I'm gonna add what she did to her routine. That looks cool. I like the way she tapped home plate with her bat. I'm gonna add that this time. No, don't do it. Stick to your routine. Stick to what makes you comfortable, makes you confident, helps you be consistent. Only inside your own routine is that confidence, right? Is the confidence in the biggest of moments. And we never know, right, ladies? We never know. In the sport of softball, you never know when that big moment is going to come. It could be on pitch 1. It could be in the 4th inning. It could be in the 8th inning. It could be in the 2nd inning. You never know, right? And you never know if it's going to be your chance, your turn, right? It could be that the game of softball picks you today and says, "Hey, I want you to be," knocks on your helmet and says, "Hey, I want you to be a hero today." Or they could go to the first baseman. They could go to the right fielder who needs to be the hero today. You never know when it's your turn. So it's important to have that consistency in your routine, okay? So that when it is your turn, you're ready and you're confident. All right. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this so far. Okay. And the last one that I want to go over is number 14. Follow your heart. Okay. This one is actually really special to me because, and I'll read you a moment here, but my grandma used to come, and I'm sure all of you guys have grandparents or aunts and uncles, brothers, sisters, neighbors, friends, all that sort of people come to your games, right? My grandma used to come to almost all my games, and she'd sit with and I'd be upset sometimes, like we lost or I didn't pitch good, and I would kind of be like, oh, walk really fast to the car, made a bad pitch, whatever happened, okay? And sometimes after the game, I would be like, oh, grandma, like I should have thrown this, or why didn't I do that? You know, you start to play the coulda, shoulda, woulda game, or what if I had done that? What if I had done this? Okay. And my grandma used to say to me, she said, my grandma always said this to me, and it is so true. She said, Monica, just follow your heart. Let your heart guide you. You know what's right and you know what's wrong. And most importantly, don't be afraid to listen to your heart. It is about the things that make your heart beat, things that make you feel alive. Do the things that make you feel excited every morning and every afternoon. She said, she used to tell me, always you love the game, Monica. Don't doubt it in a big moment. You love the game. You put in the practice, you put in the work, but don't doubt it in the big moment. She said, inside, right? Inside here, right? I said it at the very beginning. Softball players have to have 2 things in line to make them feel really good and to play their best, right? Up here and in here. Okay? And if this wasn't feeling good, or if this was doubting you, or worst case scenario, but I may have done this a couple of times, you go against it, right? You go against your heart. And you know the moment you're like, oh shoot, I'm doubting myself. I'm just going to do what this is instead of this, right? We all know that feeling. But softball is a game that's physical, right? But it's also mental. And the mental part for softball players is up here, but it's also in here. It's important, ladies. It's important to follow your heart, to trust your heart and your intuition in those moments, your heart speaking to you in those big moments on what to do, where to be, and how to be the best teammate and how to be the best athlete for your team. Okay. It's not, and it's not the easiest thing to do sometimes. It's not. Because we hear a lot of outside things, right? We hear our parents, we hear the fans, we hear, all these other people, we see a lot of things. But in the end, when you're making a decision on the sport, when you're making a decision in the game, it's your heart that's going to lead you. Okay? Your heart will lead you and your brain will follow along. Okay? And if you let those two things lead first, you'll have a lot of great results. Okay? But don't get in the way of it. Right? You see those athletes that play with like such passion and energy, and you're like, wow, they're so fun to watch, right? Do you think they're sitting there like, what am I gonna do? No, they're playing with their heart on their sleeve, right? You can see it, can't you? They're playing with their heart on their sleeve. So I challenge all of you, every time you step on the field, to think of the same thing. Follow your heart, okay? Play with your heart on your sleeve. Leave it all out there with no regrets. That is the best way to play this game. Okay. And that's number 14, follow your heart. All right, Christy, I'm gonna open up for some questions, ladies. If you have questions.
Okay, Monica, to get them started, I'm the head coach. I actually got to meet Karen Weekly when I went to the NFCA. So she raved about you. One of the things that I have 4 pitchers that are on this call right now. One of the things that my pitchers struggle with is sometimes when the defense lets them down. As a pitcher, can you give some words of encouragement or what you did when your defense would let you down from time to time?
Yeah, you guys, it happens, right? Like defense is gonna make mistakes. That's the first thing, okay? The difference between defense and pitching is pitching, you can make a few mistakes sometimes, right? And no one knows. You never thought about it that way, right? You throw 2 balls, 3 balls, you walk someone, you throw the ball in the dirt, you throw the ball up high, right? And maybe it matters, maybe it doesn't. But defense, sometimes it's just one play, one chance they get, okay? So just remember that and think about that and with grace, okay? It's not easy to be a fielder. But more importantly, mentally, I'm going to go back to, let's see, what number was it? Number 4. And we talk about the routine, right? So if I start to get frustrated and show frustration at my teammates, am I in my routine? No, right? Right? So see how that kind of gets you out of this good rhythm? Okay, so think about when that happens, how can I immediately get back into my routine? How can I immediately get into my post-pitch routine? Okay, that's the most important thing you can do, because I guarantee you your shortstop or second baseman or whoever made the error is over there thinking, gosh darn it, you know, and the last thing they need is someone else to be on their case. Okay. So get back into your routine and go try to lift them up. Okay.